Good morning,
Hello.
good afternoon, good evening. Jeez, Louise. Hello.
Hello everybody out there. Whoever's there, if you're listening, how you doing?
Is there anybody out there?
Is there
Holler if you
anybody
hear
out
me.
there? Oh, very good. Um so yeah, we're here, we're live. We're doing a little shorter episode just focusing on one little movie, a complete gem. I fell in love. Bloody muscle bodybuilder in hell, aka Japanese Evil Dead.
How do you not fall in love with a movie like this, though?
If you like the Evil Dead movies, I feel like this was like just a love letter to you. Like, yeah,
And
that's
it's like a no money movie. Like you can tell that
they use
this,
so many tricks
yeah,
that
this is
like,
filmed on a weekend with friends.
yeah, yeah. No, there's like, I particularly loved when you can see them doing like the graphics edits, but like it's in the shot, it's on frame. They're just messing with like the film grade itself to achieve like either like a wide mouth at one point or just to throw in like a blinking eye maybe. And you're just
then
it's
there
just
was that's I think where the like you could really see like the DNA of Evil Dead,
oh yeah,
like
no, like
the incredible inventiveness of like we have no money.
yeah, yeah, it's just like the first Evil Dead. It does have that complete and very charming DIY feel to it. And
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the best way to put it. DIY. There's a hardcore DIY feel to this.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Very much,
next,
yeah. Shot on Super 8. That's lovely. I can't remember the last time I've seen like a movie that like wasn't older that was shot on. And I guess like this was released in like 2012,
really,
and yeah, and shot over the course of 15 years.
that doesn't subscribe. Subscribe.
Yeah.
I can't talk. I just said that doesn't subscribe me.
So good.
Gee, many Christmas. It has been. It's. I'm going through a time.
Yeah.
But no, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Mm-mm.
And it's really a testament.
Mm-hmm.
15 years. That's a testament to your just stick to itiveness, a testament to your just desire to see this come to fruition,
Mm-hmm.
um, and your belief in your movie.
Yeah. And also just to like I was shocked that it was a 2012 release because I was like, oh, this is so much a product of its time. Me thinking its time was like 88, maybe into the 90s, possibly. But like, yeah, hats off to him for not like
It's just a product of its time of the
conception of the
conception
idea.
or what they had available to them. Geez, I cannot talk. I
Yeah, but
apologize. I'm
oh,
real
you're all good.
stumbly tonight.
No, but like, I just like at a time probably when like, I'm sure very basic like CG plugin effects would have been available for them to try to accomplish, even with film, film grade. I'm sure they could have figured that out somehow. I
Maybe,
love that they stuck with like the stop motion, like that
I
stop
love the
motion
stop
blob.
motion.
That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
amazing. I was just like,
I thought they went for broke on their special effects too. Like
mm-hmm.
there was like no effing around. It was like, all right, you know what? We know we don't have the money.
Yeah,
We know we can only give you what we got. And then like they went for it. And I
yeah,
love that. I
yeah,
love that. There's just such a kind of sense of wonder with that. Like there's just a beauty to it as well, where you're just kind of like, this is flipping awesome. Like
yeah.
now,
It's
all that being said, is it a good movie?
your mileage may vary. I really enjoyed it. Super Spike.
Yeah,
Um,
this is definitely in that tier we talk about where it's
yeah.
the definitely not for beginners, definitely not intermediate. This is up in there with the movies that are hard to watch, and it's not
Mm-hmm,
because it's super gory. It's not because it's um, challenging in any
mm-mm.
particular way. It's just it's a hard movie to watch because it's extreme low budget.
Yeah, Yeah, and if you're not used to a movie shot on this scale, I could see how like it could be a complete turnoff. Because like for a while I was like, is this almost shot on like video? It was looking like low grade at points, but yeah,
It really did feel like it in some spots, huh?
yeah, there were some spots where I was like, is this like a redneck zombies joint that
Ugh.
but it never got
You know my feelings on that.
that.
Not a fan.
Mm-mm. Oh no, not at all. I rewatched that like 2 weeks ago. It was like
Really?
it's surely not as bad as I remember. Yeah, I
I
was
am
fast forwarding through so much. I was just like,
I
oh
am
my god.
shocked and odd that you were like, you know what? I'll give it another go.
Well, because like here's the thing. Like I
Oh,
remember watching it way back in the day. Like I must have been maybe 10 or something, and like it was just kind of like like what and and I had my like I remember just like it was a wild viewing, and I watched it with my sister and her friends, and my sister's 4 years older than me, so like me watching with a bunch of teenagers for the most part, it was a really fun viewing experience. So I think that's
was
why
it?
because everyone's like what like it was,
That's fair.
and they're all MST3 kids, MST3K kids, so we were all having fun with it. And I was just like, yeah. And I was reading reviews, and people were like, it's great. It's legitimately good. And I was just like, well, there's all this love out there for it. Let me check it out again. And I was just like, no. Like, yeah,
So
no.
someone saying that that's legitimately great makes me just
Yeah, no.
angry.
It was like there was I can't remember what it was, but there was like a DVD site that I want to say it was maybe even High Def Digest that like they rate all the physical releases and stuff of films, and I want to say there was like people in like the like where the user reviews are that were like leaving really glowing reviews. I didn't see any like I was just like, is this movie much more loved than I had any inkling of? And I just no, I just think its fans are out there in force and they're trying to get their opinion heard. But yeah, no, Redneck
Do
Zombies
you
does
think
not hold
like
up.
sometimes movies like that they get a rep almost like out of a fan rep because like people are basically trolling?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm trying to think of some other stuff that's kind of the equivalent of it, but yeah, I mean, yeah, there's really, I mean, outside of it, like having like no budget and then throwing it together on almost no, Maeve, get out of here. And throwing it together on no
She's
budget.
like, Dad, are you streaming? Because you know what time it is now.
Oh, I totally told her.
It's Maeve time, baby.
I was like, Maeve, if you don't interrupt me, I'll let you have one of my Funko Pops off my big wall of Funko Pops. And she's like, oh,
Oh,
now that's gone. Oh no. Oh
oh,
no.
there's the big fake cry.
Maeve. Oh gosh. This is my life, everybody. Okay.
I always I do enjoy a good like complete fake cry meltdown where
Yeah.
you're just like, come on, man, I that is as fake can be. Like
Yeah.
you ain't fooling anybody.
No, and then like she'll as soon as she'll stop, she'll like have a big like smile on her face. It's just
Yeah,
like,
because it's literally just like
yeah.
it's yeah. I've never been a huge fan of when children will do that. I generally
Mm-mm.
am kind of like, okay.
Yeah. No, and she's like the only granddaughter between the two grandparents. So she's learned all these wonderful manipulation skills already at 5 years old. It's incredible. She could be like the next Black Widow in reality. Like she's got the skill set. She just needs to learn how to kill people. She'll be golden.
Well, she could be like an actual Black Widow, and then you don't really have to know how to kill people; just know how to poison them.
Yeah. Oh, we shouldn't talk so loudly about that. She'll get ideas, and then like next time I go for my coffee, I'm gonna be like, "This tastes a little different, man."
It tastes like almonds. Just be like, "Did you put anything in this? Because if you did, we're watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Ooh, I should make her.
You want to watch Scream? Because that's how kids watch Scream.
Maeve, do you want to watch Scooby Doo on Zombie Island? Because that's how we watch Scooby Doo on
Oh,
Zombie
it's
Island.
such a good flick.
It's really good.
All right, so back to the topic at hand.
Yeah. The movie we're here for, Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell.
What did you, so like it starts and it is straight up like,
oh yeah, starts
direct, like he's dressed like Ash from Evil Dead. They're like it's like trying so hard. It's very try hard, but in a delightful community theater way.
Yeah.
But it just I was a lot happier when it went its own direction.
Yes.
And then it just got bug nuts by the end. It was like Hasu bug nuts.
Yeah. It's kind of like
you'll find your weapon in the basement.
Oh, and I love that. I love the whole the reveal of what his real weapons are.
Oh my god.
That was great.
Like at that moment it becomes beyond self-parody. It achieves like ludicrous speed of delightfulness.
Yeah. When I have all these notes and I have
no. You go ahead then. You got.
I have in big capital letters in quotations my muscles, and then I have power flexing.
His weird relationship with the psychic.
Hates this dude. I hated that guy too.
But he kept calling him like senpai and stuff like that. I couldn't tell if that was just a cultural misstep that I wasn't getting. Was he being sarcastic?
I think
because he didn't. Maybe it was just his acting wasn't that great. Was the fact that I couldn't tell when he was being sarcastic.
Oh, I thought he was sarcastic the entire time because he really.
I think sarcasm is the thing that should be portrayed, facial expression and tone.
Yeah,
but he's so monotone, and he's such kind of got a confused lunkhead face the entire time. That was the thing. Everything was
yeah.
Blue Steel face. He was trying to do Blue Steel the whole movie, which I died laughing.
Yeah, I feel like this guy was trying to be more Bruce Campbell than actually Ash. Man, that's
a good way.
Yeah, because there was just I was like, Ash wasn't this much of a putz, but Bruce Campbell's kind of a chucklehead in real life, and it came through. He was just very. I don't know. There's the part where they're the psychic's doing his seance or trying to do it at the beginning, and our hero's sitting there checking his hair out in the mirror, and it's just what's going on? Or just his I don't know. I loved it.
It was it felt like they were saying when they made this movie, hey, we need your character to be a lazier and dumber version of Ash Williams. Can you do that? And he was like, gotcha.
Yeah.
Can I?
Can I? Oh, just you wait.
Have you seen the act?
It was, but I mean, it was, I fell in love with oh man. When he's sitting there talking to the lady, or Mika as her name is, his ex-girlfriend, who's the journalist or whatever, and it's his introduction. It's their meet cute kind of moment, and he's like, yeah, I've been working out for the last 6 months, and she's like, you've been doing nothing with your time then? And that triggered me.
He's like, I've been working out, and that's something.
Yeah, and then there's a part where she was lighting up a cigarette, and he goes off in this long paragraph long thing about the B12 and things, and it was just you nerd.
That was goddamn delightful though.
And then in the next scene, he's sitting there doing road brews on the way to his house. And it's wait, weren't you just the guy giving everyone shit? And then you're just gonna casually day drink through the rest of the film until
he's such a weirdo.
He is.
It's so good because it's just he's just there's such a weird thing going on where I can't tell at what point do we cross into homage. Where does homage become parody?
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? Am I
Yeah.
making any sense when I say that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It's
It's like, how do you classify that?
yeah, it's
You know,
like I don't know. I'm trying to think of like like I just I don't know. For some reason my mind all of a sudden is like trying to figure out like I'm going through like James Bond kind of stuff of like thinking of like what's a good movie that is an homage that doesn't slip into or that does but like it's so hard to figure this out but what you're saying like that holds so much water that it's like I don't know where this particular movie is because it rides that line like sometimes where you're like okay it's taking itself seriously now but then there's other moments where you're like wait what like what okay all right okay sure all right okay I'm
all right,
yeah
movie, all right.
yeah we'll see where this goes movie okay but yeah like it's it's so wonderful though like it,
There is
I've
there
never
is an overwhelming sense of delight throughout the whole movie of just like,
yeah
I felt myself just going like, this movie got made.
yeah yeah yeah
This movie got made, and I'm like, I'm a better person for being able to watch it. If that
it's
makes any
yeah
sense?
oh
I don't know.
yeah no like it there's just so much spirit like in there's like a palpable sense of like joy that
Yeah.
even like I don't know even when you're just watching like a head on a shovel like it's like you get a sense of like someone is going through their entire bag of tricks and they're getting their vision on
Well,
here
I don't even know if it's. I almost think it's there. It's just like got such a manic energy.
hmm
Like it's a very. I do feel like a lot of Japanese cinema has that, but this movie like has got it in spades. It's just like, hey man, we're just going all out. There's like,
yeah well there's kind of tying into that I was thinking something there's something that like I feel like the Japanese actors portray like excitement and surprise in such a bodily way that no other like actors from any kind of other nationality I really like kind of encapsulate. Like there's just something like when something pops off in a Japanese movie and all of a sudden like everyone in the scene reacts to it. It's like not just your head turns, like their whole bodies are like, whoa, whoa, and like it just
do you think that
boom.
comes from like having a tradition of like kabuki
Yeah.
theater and things like that, where I think was it No is the other one where there's a lot of body motion
Yeah.
involved in it.
Yeah. I think
Um,
that um they're like here when you learn acting like as a like stage and then screen stage acting is so big so broad because you're going to be playing to the people way up high meanwhile like when you're doing it for the camera you're doing it for the camera so you kind of bring it in a little more I don't feel like they got that note ever
no, I would agree with that. I
it's
think
just it's always but it maybe something that America maybe in or maybe just Western theater or movies in general could take um, a page from with the Japanese is that it's so big and so broad that's it works with that heightened drama. It makes everything so much more intense. And so like when the things are popping off in this movie and they're popping off like all the time, like just a simple head spin, it's like I don't know, there's just so much more charged energy to it that it's like these actors do with their bodies what it took Sam Raimi's camera movements and Bruce Campbell's like rubberneck sensibilities combined to achieve.
yeah, I mean I don't disagree with that at all. I think there is definitely a kind of like I said, like a mania to it. It
Mm-hmm.
even when you watch something like Tetsuo the Iron Man, it's there's just this, whether it's the acting or it's just the visual sensibilities of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
it's insane, like in a
Yeah.
good way.
Yeah.
It's like it's on 11 the whole time. Like
Ye-
it has no slowdown.
yeah.
Like it's just this outrageous kind of sense of motion.
Hmm. And
Um,
yeah, and also, and obviously there's moments where that in film that can kind of work against what you're trying to do. Like I'm just thinking of like, I don't know, like Godzilla Final Wars, like, and they have all those weird like mutant people that like weird task force, and they do all the same thing, but in that kind of setting it kind of, it's like, oh, okay, that's a little cheesy. But for some reason here, it like it totally works to like accentuate and heighten this weird little splatterfest possession ghost story that's going on.
yeah, I do agree with that. I think it's like it's a weird thing where you realize that that energy's so not what you're used to, but
Yeah.
it's so much in some cases what you need.
Yeah.
And in a movie like this, it's something that just it takes the movie to a different level.
Hmm.
And I just yeah, it's not it, and it's the other thing. It's not a movie I would like I said I wouldn't particularly recommend it to people.
Yeah.
And also I would also say it's a movie that you have to be in the right frame of mind, and
Hmm.
you have to kind of be someone who's like, I like weird shit.
Yeah.
Because
You
if
have to
you
like, well, I was gonna say you have to like weird shit in Evil Dead, but I feel like if you love Evil Dead, you're into weird shit.
I would hope so, yeah.
Yeah.
I really would hope so. But it's such a different vibe.
Yeah.
Um and you talked about earlier Redneck Zombies. As much as I don't care for that movie, that vibe though is there.
Hmm.
Where it's like, hey, we got a bunch of people got together and we decided to make this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think probably the same with Red Dead Zombies as is this. It's probably the filmmaker making this movie more than anything for the love of making this movie, this experience they're going through. Otherwise, I don't know if you'd spend 15 years trying to get this, you know,
get
this
it
vision out
get it
there. Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm glad they did. Yeah, it was such a fun time, such a fun movie, and especially when it finds its own footing and strays away from the overall Evil Dead
Yeah, once it gets
architecture.
yeah, once it decides it's like, okay, you now get what we were going for. Let's
Yeah,
roll.
yeah.
Then it gets to be very like interesting in its own right.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Once it takes that turn, I'd say like once you, I'd say once the first like full possession thing kind of happens, and I don't know if we want to get into too much spoilers, just because I'm sure people haven't seen it, and it is one of those ones I feel like you want to see this just because you'll be like, wait, what? Like,
It's a so I will preface it by saying this is a party movie.
yeah, oh yeah.
Get your friends together, settle in. It's not that long,
Mm-mm. No,
and then
oh,
and then
short and
just
sweet.
chill out and watch this because it's fun.
Yeah,
It's dumb and it's fun and it's chaotic and it
yeah,
goes so hard, so fast. Um, it's got stuff that'll make you laugh. It's got stuff that'll make you kind of go. The special effects are so buck wild.
yeah.
Um, that
Really good special effects. Well, I mean, like good for but like
for the budget, hell
because
yeah.
they're not really good. They're not really good, to
No,
be honest.
they're not good. But for the
Although,
budget, they're
yeah,
spectacular.
for the budget, and if you were also like Sam Raimi with like 5 other friends in 1979 making a film, like amazing work. But like,
Yeah, I
yeah,
just yeah, again, I think it's a I try not to judge something like this too
yeah.
harshly because
Oh
they're
yeah,
little.
yeah.
I couldn't do that with my stuff in my
Oh
backyard.
yeah, totally. And like there's moments like where I was like cheering for the effects, like when all of a sudden there's this this mass of blobby flesh or whatever that starts crawling around. I was like, yeah, I'd never seen that. Like,
there's
that
some
was
stop
wild.
motion stuff that's really fun
Yeah,
because it is definitely like, hey, we don't have any money.
yeah. And there's like legit things that made me like legit grossed out, like the necklace into the eye gag. That was gross as hell. I
that was
felt
awesome.
really yeah, like that made me crawl in my skin a little bit. That was
Well, eye stuff's always gonna
mm,
reach out and grab almost anyone.
yeah, yeah. And then they top of that like just like 3 seconds later with like just this big explosion of gore. But it was great. It was so, yeah, like this was just such a fun, nasty little movie, but not nasty in a
That's the
mean
thing, like
sense.
yeah, like not nasty in a mean sense. Just like,
It's just like,
not
yeah,
a movie where you're like, ooh, I need to
nasty and
shower
like,
afterwards. It was more like this is a really fun little flick.
yeah, it's yeah, it's not some the filmmakers are not trying to like make you have a bad time. They're inviting you to come have fun with them, and it definitely is it's a fun ride throughout. There's just, I don't know, there's all sorts of little, and they're just, I feel like there's such Japanese touches. I don't know why, but like when Ghost Dad shows up on the TV, I was just like, okay, yeah, why not?
I was
Why
like,
wouldn't you?
where is this coming
Yeah,
from?
exactly. It was just so like out of left field. But then again, I was
And
just
I
like,
kept thinking, like, okay, this cannot be good. Like, this is going to be a trap, and this is going to end up being like, a big setup, or this is going to, and it was like, nope, this is just straight up. This
yeah,
is how we roll, baby.
yeah, no, your dad just is going to show up on the TV somehow. That's it. That's what we're going for.
He's
Don't
going to
worry
show
about
up.
it.
He's going to lay it all out for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Also, I was like,
literally.
this is
Explain.
I was like, this is your fault, man.
Yeah, in capital letters, I have Ghost Dad Exposition.
Yeah, and it's Ghost Dad's fault.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, he's
I
like,
want to talk about that a little bit.
okay, because
When
you could pin it on Ghost Dad, but also I say the big chunk, and I do love that Ghost Dad does place the blame on the psychic, because I was like, this guy's fucking up everything.
Well, he's an asshole for sure.
Oh, what a jerk! Yeah,
but like he wasn't that big an asshole.
Yeah.
I
but
kept thinking like, excuse me.
Yeah.
I kept thinking like, Ghost Dad, this all would have been okay if you just hadn't like stabbed the lady.
But she attacked him though, didn't she, in the beginning?
He could have just left.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, guess I gotta stab you and kill you, and now we're
in
haunted,
which she
I guess.
moans like in like the most pleasurable way when she's dying, and she's like, "Oh, there's so much blood." Oh
yeah, like, you gotta run from that lady as fast as humanly possible. Don't get me wrong, but like, he also, I got the impression, and correct me if I'm wrong, was he with Muscle Bodybuilder's wife at this point? He was cheating, is kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah, no, because
so okay. Ghost Dad was a shitbag.
Oh yeah, no, and I love that, like when we're meeting BB, as I call him, the bodybuilder. I never caught his name, but like when,
but he is also kind of a shitbag. He's on his way to full shitbagdom.
Yeah, like
he's about ready to pull a full flare.
When we first meet him, for some reason, he's got a picture of his dad and this woman together, and he's like, "That's my dad." And I don't know who that is. And it's just like,
it's probably one of his girlfriends.
Yeah, probably some lady he met.
What?
Oh, yeah, and her opening dialogue is all about like, you can't be with this other woman. I won't let you have her. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, it is.
It's intense, and I thought he was like, I thought that was his lady. He was, but she's the side lady. We find out later, and wow, it's just like you don't feel like she's but although there's a weird thing going on where like her spirit seems to want the bodybuilder guy.
I think at that point, I got the impression she just didn't care who she
Yeah,
got as long as she got something
something
somewhere.
in the bloodline, I guess. There's something like
Yeah.
that.
Well,
Like,
I think
yeah,
she just was like, at that point, she was like, I'm a total agent of chaos, and I'm just gonna bone whatever I can or kill whatever I can because I'm crazy.
yeah. Uh, God, yeah. But yeah, what a I don't know. And then like just like I'm just gonna murder this woman,
Crazy.
and then I'll just dig up my own floor and axe my floor up to death, and then bury her underneath. Like, and then I don't know. I guess my family will move into this home, and we will live here for many years until I die, and then my son will inherit it, and he'll just sit there and work out in the dark.
Did they mention at all how Ghost Dad died? I don't remember that at all.
No, no, he's just like my parents are dead. They've been dead for a while. I have no one to take care of.
Did he live in that house? I thought he said he never lived in that house.
No, because like that's I at first like when we meet him, I thought I wish this was Batman. Spike. No, we're not that lucky. No,
No, Spike, it's bloody bodybuilder in hell.
but he's the house that he's working out in the beginning is that house because later when he's talking to the psychic,
I didn't
he's
think it was that house. I thought it was somewhere else.
no, but he's all like talking to the like the sex or this the sexist psychic. Sorry. He's not. I don't know. I don't think he was, but there's a moment where like they're having like a little bit of like a contentious back and forth on the car ride, and the psychic's like, "You idiot! You should not be hanging out there working out. Like, why are you doing that? Like,
Do you think that was maybe just a continuity issue?
I have no clue because like yeah, at first it feels like oh no one's been here and we're coming to this place and oh ex-girlfriend journalist come do a story that you want to do. You seem to be the impetus actually for this whole thing. Okay, but then like yeah, like this it just snapped me out of everything because he is this guy is Major Gaines. He talks to the psychic and like about how yeah I'm hanging out doing my workouts there. The psychic's like, why are you doing that? You're just going to invite in all this bad karma, even though the psychic is the one who like I don't know. I was just like, why are you if we're worried about spirits in this house, why are you going to go like talk to him? But
Yeah, I didn't get. She
yeah,
wanted to go to the house.
she did, and then like they both. Oh,
Which I also thought was the thing I thought was super weird was like
it's convoluted. We can say this is not a well-made movie, I guess, in this respect. They didn't maybe they didn't spend too much time on the story like they should have. But yeah, like it was oh god. I can tell you about pre-workout powder. I've had some sorry, I just saw Spike in the chat. Yeah, dude, I like 2 weeks ago my wife introduced me to workout pre-workout and I was like, "Oh, this ain't nothing." Like I whatever. And I put 2 scoops in of my drinks and you should only do one a day. I read later afterwards. And wow, man, like I've done some stupid party stuff in my day, but like I've never felt so itchy and like my skin's crawling.
hey man, you got part of that workout powder.
Hey man, you got that workout powder? I was spooping all over the place, man. Like yeah, it took me hours to come down off that stuff. Legitimately, it was like it felt like I was on some weird wave. But yeah, but back to the movie, like fucking insanity. Like it's just like I don't know. Yeah, like so the guy, our psychic, like does like channels ghosts, and then like he sees like there's I don't know. It seems like it's attached to the bodybuilder guy. Like he's seeing this hand, and then he sees like the face, and then after all that, he's just like, well, how about you guys leave so I can do this on my own? And it's just like, okay, what? Like I don't know. It was just I don't know. It was the but thankfully that happened because then he gets possessed and just it becomes insane.
I mean, he's got a. I mean, it's just a weird weird movie.
Yeah.
It's like don't try to make sense out of nonsense, but at the same time, it's so fun.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I kind of want to make sense out of nonsense because this is
And
like really kind of got a joyfulness to it.
yeah, and just keeping it joyful. I would also like to commend this movie as being kind of doing what not doing, I should say, what a lot of homages to Evil Dead do, and trying to replicate the tree scene. Thank God it did not go in that territory, which
Yeah, there was definitely like a,
yeah,
and again, I don't know if that's a cultural thing where they were just like, we don't do that here.
yeah. Well, I don't know, because sometimes the Japanese like to they'll get a little weird with it, a little
I
kinky.
know that they will definitely be like, oh, you want to fuck around and find out, you're gonna find out. But I mean, but I think that it was like the tone of the movie wasn't that.
Yeah, it was
You know what I
not
mean? Like,
that, and I'm so glad it didn't go that, because like even like I don't know, the notorious tree rape scene in the first Evil Dead. Like the first few times I saw, as a kid, I was just like, huh, weird. And now as an adult, I'm kind of like, do we really need to? Do we need this element? And it's shocking and whatever, but like, and definitely, I feel if you gave that same like setup to Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell now with their maturity, but they still had that same youthful energy to make that movie, I don't know if they would want to redo that scene necessarily.
I don't think I don't think that comes into a new movie.
Yeah.
I just kind of think they would be like,
Yeah, because it's just it's I don't know. It's almost a little too cruel and just kind of exploitive for the sake of being exploitive.
well, I think it has a lot of the air of like splatter punk or punk, but just splatter movie where it's like,
Mhm.
let's be as edgy and hardcore as we can possibly be, which I think, there's definitely some of that in Evil Dead. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
definitely some of that, like I'm going to be the edgiest of edge lords. Um,
yeah.
but I also think like it doesn't need that.
No, no.
And I think now especially it's gone so far beyond that
Yeah.
that it's but how do you get beyond? That's the thing. How do we get beyond Thunderdome? Um, how do you achieve that status though? Too, it's like I don't
I
know. I'm kind of spinning my wheels when I
I really love what like more the newer crop of like the like Evil Dead 2013 and Evil Dead Rise. What they've done is it's kind of now lean more into like that body horror. Like, oh, look what sick twisted things the Deadites are gonna do to your body once they like take you over. I really like that. I think that's that kind of gruesomeness that works for like you don't need that whole like the sexual element at all. So like I think that I love that, and I love that like Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder did not go into that. They just went straight with let's just pump up the blood, the gore, and definitely take a page from Evil Dead 2 and make it a bit of that. You almost feel like you're watching just this zany, spooky Looney Tunes, but like Looney Tunes that's so like just baked into this weird horror movie that I love it. Yeah.
well, it's definitely a vibe. You know,
It is. And not many I like I'd say like the first two Evil Dead, this definitely have this vibe, and I don't know, maybe um maybe Dead Alive, Brain Dead, Peter Jackson's zombie movie, that kind of has a little bit, I'd say, of this kind of like madcap, like let's just turn this up and make this like it's almost like they're making like a live action cartoon in some parts, but like a
oh for
horror
sure.
cartoon. And it's so fun. It's just never a dull moment, and you just move along, move along, move along, and it's such a fun ride. Yeah. Can't say like I nothing I mean like outside of like just like shoestring budget, and there are some things in the script that you're like, wait, what? Upon any kind of scrutiny, but otherwise, like, just what a great movie. What a fun movie.
I think fun is the key.
Yes, capital FUN. Yeah, all the way across. Yeah, it was. Yeah, like and for something that like it's maybe been on my radar for like maybe like 2 years. Like, wow, it delivered. It held it. It holds up. It was worth all the hype for sure, I think.
I would agree with that. I think it's a movie that I was like pretty unaware of as
Mhm.
far as I'm trying to think how to say this. It was a movie where I was kind of like, I've heard of it, I've seen stuff about it, but it is a movie that I'm actually going to watch. Probably not.
Mhm.
Um, and that's a mistake
Yeah.
because I'm
Yeah.
kind of like, I was missing a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It kind of this has kind of made me like rethink a little bit of like, well, maybe I should go and check out that other movie or this other movie and just see what's out there. Cause yeah, like sometimes when I hear like, oh, it's this country's version of this or something like that, that can kind of make me be like, well, I don't know. Is it just going to be like just a rehash of this? But nah, this was almost as good as like Turkey's version of Star Wars. It was just this wild thing that's all its own, and yeah, it was
Yeah,
great.
it definitely like had that kind of that vibe of like,
Yeah.
hey, this is going to be crazy.
Mhm.
Gird your loins, boys. Um, and it doesn't disappoint when it comes to
Mhm.
that. It brings that feeling. It's like I said, not a good movie,
But
but I don't think it ever was trying to tell us it was a good movie. This
no, no. Yeah, and I don't even know if necessarily this was like, look what I can do on this budget, or even a look what I can do kind of movie. I think it's more like I just really want to make this kind of a thing. And it's yeah, and there's some thing like the score was surprisingly actually really good, I thought.
score was good.
Yeah, it felt
I
like
got
Tangerine Dream meets Goblin. I was so into it. I was really enjoying it. And maybe that's high praise to compare it to those two, but I don't know. I was grooving to it. I really was.
I
And,
enjoyed it. Yeah, I yeah.
yeah.
That's really all I can
And
say
then
about it.
I don't know. we he the when the bodybuilder tries to get his hail to the king, or is kind of groovy when he's like, "See you in hell, baby," at the end. I was just like,
There was a few of those that I was like, boy, you guys really were gonna make sure you hammer that part home, huh?
and also I that's and I don't know what, but it's I love it particularly in like Asian films where when the dialogue is all in the native language, and then there's just those American colloquialisms that don't translate, so you'll be like, bum, baby. And it's just like, oh yeah. And it just sticks out so weird and
Like the
awkwardly. But
cadence isn't right, and
yeah, yeah. And you can even tell maybe that like it's a word that's maybe a little unwieldy to the speaker. It's not something that's in their normal. So it just comes out like it doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't hit like it would if like maybe a traditional English speaker was saying it, but like
yeah.
the way it comes out is in this kind of slightly stilted way. It makes it even more like wonderful.
There's definitely like something to be said about like the language barrier being entertaining in itself as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Like that it brings its own kind of heat to it.
yeah, yeah, and just yeah, it's like I don't know, not I don't know how to describe it. I want to say it's almost I don't know because I want to say it's kind of cute, but I don't want it to be dismissive of it. like by saying but it's I don't know. There's something really endearing.
Endearing, I think, is the
Yeah,
best.
maybe, yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It makes me kind of want to have this kind of like, oh, you guys, you shouldn't have kind of reaction. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that's where my weird mind goes. But yeah, like, I don't know. Yeah. So all in all, I guess we could say like not exactly a good movie, but worthwhile, I'd say, if you're looking to have a fun horror time, especially with friends.
It's definitely a palsy movie. Like,
Oh yeah.
get your pals, get some, if you like to imbibe beverages, it's
Yeah.
probably a good movie to imbibe beverages with. Um, but it's definitely like a hangout flick. It's
Yeah.
definitely like it's it's fun.
Yeah. And even if I'd say if you've got buddies out there and they're not necessarily into horror, but say they love a good MST3K / riff tracks kind of a evening, throw
That's
this
what this
on.
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what this is. Like,
It's
you don't need someone else to riff track this.
yeah. No,
It's
it's
it's bad enough on its own.
it is. It's you could just sit there and just be just endlessly entertained in all sorts of ways by
Yeah.
watching this movie. And I've watched it now twice, both times by myself, so I can't wait to get Tony, my wife, to watch this with me because that's going to be a real treat because she has no idea what this movie's about, and I
It's
can't wait.
and it's hard to explain what it's even about, like what it's got going on. It doesn't even fully make
Because like even if you like to be just saying this was selling having this sold to me as Japanese Evil Dead, I'd say that didn't even paint the whole picture because
no.
it goes off in its own ways. And then there's even other stuff I see. I was like, oh, there's a lot of like I see a lot of like Dead Alive in this. I see bits of Poltergeist for real in this. Like
There's a
it's
lot of poltergeist in this.
a lot more than I was expecting for
Yeah,
sure.
I actually was like, they may have sold us on the wrong movie here. This is more
Yeah.
poltergeist than it is anything else in some spots.
Yeah, I mean, like the gore is all Evil Dead, but like a large chunk of the goings ons feels like, oh, this could be right there in Poltergeist. I wouldn't say it like directly ripped from it, but it would feel right at home. These scenes in a Poltergeist film for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That's very true. It's like it doesn't. This is a movie that does not hide or shy away from its where it's drawing inspiration from at all. It's like wears it right on its sleeve. It's like this is who we are. This is what we wanted to make. This is what we're making.
Yeah, Super Spike
I
says
really
needs more
admire that.
Poltergeist.
Exactly. But I think that's a good thing. It's so I guess
Yeah.
where do you put this, Colin, on the
Oh,
pantheon? Like at the pantheon, the who should be watching this?
not for a beginner. Honestly, and I don't even. Well, you know what? I would put this like, if you are a true blue horror person, obviously seek this out. Um, Definitely, if you're gonna have friends over, throw this on. Um, I wouldn't initiate someone with this if they're like just getting into horror or they're just dipping their toes or starting to
The
like
only way I would initiate someone into this like that is
if
if they if they were already kind of in at least if they were someone who's like I like comedy horror.
yeah, okay, yeah, no, that yeah, totally. If yeah, if someone like really loves comedy horror, or like if they're not fully on board with horror, but they are familiar, say with MST3K or riff tracks and enjoy that, show them this, and it might bring them. They'll definitely get that MST3K and riff tracks nerve tickled,
Yes,
um,
you'll get
and
tickled for
and
sure.
maybe because there's so much charm in this movie, and if they find it all like, oh, I really enjoyed this, then you know what, fire up Evil Dead. Fire Up Evil Dead 2 for sure. And yeah, like I'd say, yeah, like you can give this to like intermediate to definitely to someone who's like a full-on horror hound. Like, yeah. And or I don't know, I guess this could be for all ages at any level. It's I don't know, it's a weird movie because there's like parts of it where I'm like, well, I don't know if you'd want to throw this at someone who's kind of necessarily a newbie, but then there's so much fun to be found in it as well, and such a accessible level of like fun that I don't know, like you could show this maybe to someone who's not super into horror, but also you need to make the settings right probably too. So definitely a party movie, definitely a gathering movie. And I guess from there, I'd put it up to whoever is going to be the one curating this, to like gauge your audience. But if you yourself are, I couldn't put this at. I highly recommend it myself. Like I would say, go out, watch it. It's on Tubi right now.
Yeah, it's worth your time.
It is. It's a good time, even if you're by yourself. Like, crack a beer and watch it. If you don't imbibe, watch it. I've watched it both times without like any kind of inebriation enhancement. That's a weird way to say it. And I enjoyed it just top to bottom. It's such a fun time. Like, so yeah, like I don't know. I think it's definitely a 2 thumbs up and 4 more cut off thumbs and a bloody sack to add to it.
It's one amulet to the eye.
There you go. Yeah, it's a necklace to the eye. One crawling meat blob up a wall, and barbell as a weapon rating.
Colin, what do we got coming? What we got go? Blah 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 blah. God, this is
Next Wednesday, I think we're doing all our bubblegum, right? We're doing that. Also, then that next Thursday on the 14th, we're doing our Italian sequels to non-Italian films. So that's going to be like, we got Troll 2, Alien 2 on Earth, Cruel Jaws, a couple others that are escaping my mind, but that's going to be fun. I think we're going to keep trying to do one big Spoopy Boy and one smaller Spoopy Boy episode per month, as well as getting some other things going on. I'm going to try to get my gaming presence up to snuff on here, so maybe to join you with some more Bad at Games things. And yeah, just you can find me on here, just hanging around, rummaging through the bin in the back.
I'll be on tomorrow. I don't know what I'm playing. Then Sunday for prep school, and then Wednesday for all out of bubblegum.
Excited.
And then, I'm gonna try to get all the Mondays scheduled for October.
Okay.
But yeah, otherwise we'll see you next Thursday for Spoopy Boys as well.
For sure, guys. Yeah.
Is the Don gonna make an appearance? Don Chapino?
I think I'll I'll have to do it. I'll have to do it in full character. Yeah, okay. I'll do it.
Yeah, at least do it at the beginning.
Well, I don't know. I've been kind of like toying with the idea of like going full makeup. I'm like, Tony, could you make me look like an old man? She's like, I could make you look like a real old man. I'm like, all right. So yeah, I think I might do that. I might go.
Now, you know, it's true love, folks, when you can go to your significant other and say, you make me look like an old man? And they're like, yes.
Yeah. So yeah. I'll try to make it a fun one. I don't know. Some of those movies weren't fun, so we definitely need to make the discussion about them fun. But
We
yeah,
have 2 to watch this weekend too, at
we
least.
do. Yeah,
All
I'm
right,
excited
man.
about that.
Thank you guys for hanging out. If you see us in the
Yeah.
future, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much, Spike, for livening up the chat for us tonight.
Oh yeah. Also, like, give this movie a run. It's
Yeah.
short, it's weird, it's fun.
It, and
You could watch a hell of a lot worse
yeah,
stuff.
it's super short. I think it's just barely above an hour. Completely free on Tubi, and I feel there's a few other places maybe you might be able to watch it. I feel it might be on AMC Plus if you happen to have that, maybe Shudder.
We've
But
talked for almost as long as the movie is.
yeah, almost. But yeah, it's a free movie. Bloody muscle bodybuilder in hell. It is a hell of a ride. I couldn't recommend it anymore. And with that, I guess I'll just say, see you in hell, baby.
And then a locket goes into my eye.
And then a lot